this past January found us living right on the edge of the evacuation zone of the Palisades fire. Marianne was keeping watch of the winds and just how close to the edge we were because the line was in motion. We could need to leave at a moment's notice. In an emergency like this one, there's a variety of ways we might instinctually respond. Marianne was on high alert, barely sleeping, focused, efficient. I was the opposite. Sleeping 16 hours a day, only awake long enough to work, preemptively exhausted. Marianne is the sort of person that runs into the burning building. She waits to rest until the danger is past and the fire is out. I do my work in the ashes, in the mess that's already been made. My body knows to sleep through danger because my contribution comes after. We're lucky to have each other. Well, mostly I'm lucky to have her. But it does go both ways. This world takes all kinds, all of us working together, everyone being who they are and bringing what they do. Reverend Nadia Bolz-Weber offers wonderful insight on this truth, assuring us it's enough to do the thing that's yours to do. Her teacher, Suzanne Stable, once offered her a series of discernment questions that have become a regular part of her life of practice. She shares these. The questions are, what's mine to do and what's not mine to do? What's mine to say and what's not mine to say? And then the third one's harder, she says, because it feels callous. But what's mine to care about and what's not mine to care about? She unpacks it further. That's not to say it's not worthy to be cared about by someone, but that we have to acknowledge the limits of our ability to care and respond about everything that happens throughout the world. She says, if I'm in my lane and I'm doing what's mine to do and resting in that, then the next step is to assure myself it actually is enough, and to assure myself that there are others in the world who are doing work I am not equipped for or called to celebrate them, to point to them, to be grateful for them, but not to feel like I have to also be them. This is a practice and a reminder. I find it both heartening and useful. I invite you to explore it with me as the year before us unfolds, and to share with me and with one another what it has to teach you as you engage with it. Anyhow, back to LA, last winter. That first night of the Palisades fire, a second fire in Altadena had also broken out and leveled the community with speed and ferocity. Among too many others, the Altadena fire consumed our friend Donna's home. She and her family were able to escape with their 1.5-year-old kiddo and multiple dogs in tow, but they'd left so urgently, not everyone was wearing shoes. They lost everything. Somehow it happened that they had all they needed too. The third day of the Palisades fire, it was still uncontrolled, and several fires were now burning around the city. This meant that people who'd been evacuated from one place were having to evacuate all over again. We were lucky to be in our home, even if we were just on the edge, and we knew we were lucky. We'd started a pile on the dining table of things to take with us when we had to leave in a hurry. There were fewer items deemed necessary by day 3 than there had been on day 1. The pile had been whittled down, some critical documents, supplies for the animals, meds and other first aid, our laptops. We couldn't load the car ahead of time because looters were around the neighborhood waiting to relieve anyone tempted to plan ahead in this way of their treasured possessions. Our mostly outdoor cat had been brought inside, and a baby gate separated him from our puppy, who was enthusiastic about pursuing their friendship. The cat less so. A new pile was forming next to our shrinking go bag. Things to take to Donna and her family. Shoes, of course. An assortment of tea, clean towels, clothes we weren't hoping to get rid of but knew she'd like and happily wear. An empty frame she could fill with a favorite photo. Something to remind her to hope for the next home, even as she had barely begun to mourn the last. It turned out everyone wanted to help Donna. Through a friend who had been called to funnel resources and goodwill in the midst of this tragedy, people on the East Coast who had never met her were sending baby clothes and linens and pots and pans. I dropped by their Airbnb to offer childcare while they went to the grocery store, stunned at the piles coming in from all over and forming in every corner. Strangers were moved to compassionate giving, and they wanted to give to a name, a face, a family who'd lost everything. There are different kinds of tragedies, and they're met with different forms and flavors of compassion. A blanket of blamelessness spread over the victims of the fires. People could so easily see and say, "Oh, that could be me." And it prompted an outpouring of support. Donna and I knew one another from restorative justice work in youth diversion. Every day we were wading up to our elbows in unmet need, fighting the cycles of shame, guilt, punishment, and blame that keep good and innocent people mired in systems of oppression truly stuck. We sat on the porch of her temporary home, wondering aloud together how to get things where they needed to go. The logistics, but also the philosophy. How could we include our diversion kids and their families in this swell and swirl of goodwill and generosity? Her need was passing, but general need was ever present. What is it that awakens our desire, that inspires us to see one another in need and determine to tend to it? What opens the heart so that compassion can pour forth? As I've continued to sit with this, to wonder, worry, and reflect, here's what I'm noticing. My taking compassionate action to alleviate suffering is encouraged by my ability to see the whole and myself a part of it. Realizing what needs doing. Practices of self-knowledge that facilitate my contribution so that I'm doing the part of what needs doing that I'm capable of and called to. And then working with manageable amounts of the enormity of suffering on offer. When there is meaningful, visible, or tangible progress being made, it sustains my ability to be in the work, to stay in the work over time, to live with an open heart and not feel chronic failure or constant overwhelm. Just the knowledge that compassion is something we can cultivate. We can practice and improve at it. Helps me get in the work and stay. I invite you to do your own reflecting and practicing. Do you work in the ashes? Do you run into the burning building? Do you diagnose or dismantle systems of oppression? Are you a connecting piece, funneling and directing the flow of generosity? Is it considering the animals that tugs most at your heart? Or the children, or the innocent, the blameless, the homeowners, the looters, the rescue workers, the very earth itself, in an uproar, responding to our treatment of her across generations? What moves you? May we listen to our hearts and to one another as we grow in compassion, taking wise and thoughtful action that results from it. May we increasingly perceive our oneness and know that by healing part of the wound, we help to heal the whole, ourselves of it and not other than it. May we love one another and our shared world with tenderness and courage through the fires and in the midst of every joy and sorrow that life brings our way. May it be so. Amen, amen, ashe.